Aloha. I'm Netra Halperin. Welcome to Netra's News. This evening I have Kimokeo Kapahulehua.
Yes, correct.
And he's going to be talking to us about canoe culture. Welcome, Kimokeo.
Mahalo, Netra. Thank you for having me on your Netra News.
Well, I'm very happy to have you. You're
Great.
such an important part of Maui, especially of the South Maui community.
Oh, mahalo. Thank you.
Could you please tell us what is canoe culture?
Canoe culture is about Mauka Makai.
Okay.
For us to have a canoe, we need to know what up is the Mauka, which is the mountain area. Know what kind of wood that we're going to make our canoe with, and the parts we're going to have in a canoe. So in the forest, of course, everybody know that we look for the core tree. So canoe culture starts from the forest area, yeah, in searching for a core that will make the canoe. And not just searching for a core, you know. You have to be ready of getting a core tree or a la'au or a gift from the Mauka. So canoe culture means that that you have done everything to deserve this tree. So one of the things that Kahuna Kalaiva'a, the person who specializes in making canoe, taught me was Tutuman Glenn Madaris on the island of Hawaii. And he was given to me or sent to him by my kumu Keli Itawa. And kumu said that if you want to learn about the core tree, you should go see the Kahuna Kalaiva'a Madaris in Kia'ua up in the Big Island. And so that's how I started canoe culture, by going and visiting the kupuna who built canoes and to tell you about them and why you have to be up on the mountain. And so that started my canoe culture back with the Kahuna Kalaiva'a Glen Madaris on the what we call Mokoke'awe, the Big Island of Hawaii.
And what you said about getting the tree and picking the correct tree, is there a certain reverence or is there a certain building of integrity in the way you take each step?
The first thing you need to do when I was asked the Kahuna Kalaiva'a in the Big Island or Mokoke'awe, and he asked all these questions, you know, have you ever planted any tree? The answer was no. Have you ever planted anything down at the ocean? You know, I said, well, we planted a few things. And he named all the different plants that we should have planted. You know, and he also asked, did you ever plant anything in ocean? You know, I said, well, what do you mean by that? He said, well, did you ever go and look at all the seaweed and plant your own seaweed forest? I said, not really. I know them all. We took a lot of seaweed, you know. And so all of that started with him. And so the reverence was about knowing your own culture, your Hawaiian culture in Mauka Makai, knowing the name of the plants, the usage of the plants, not only for canoe, but for medicinal use and nutrient use. And that was the same for the ocean. So all of those things was a reverence part that you have to seek out the name and the meaning of those names and how it was used and who was the one to go get it. Not everybody was allowed to go and get it. So there was a lot of reverence lessons taught step by step prior to you going up in the mountain and just go and get a tree, a log, a core log to make a canoe.
And I like those questions. Have you planted a tree in the forest? Have you planted a tree at the beach? Have you planted a tree in the ocean? Because it's basically sustainability. And this concept of sustainability, people think that's all new. Well, it's not new. It's old.
Well, sustainability is kind of a false word, yeah. Sustainability for the Hawaiian folks or the Hawaiian people was way of life.
Yeah.
So it wasn't sustainable. You know, it's just way of life. They were brought up that way. You know, they were brought up to do these life habits that make it possible for all of us to have what we have today.
Exactly. And I'm saying that what we as Western culture need to learn real quick is how to go back and look at that sustainability and look at that way of life and emulate it in an appropriately adjusted for the technology we have, but the basic concept of, you know, you plant it, you reap it, you sow it, you plant it. It's like you keep that circle going, and that's how life continues.
Yeah, well, you know, if you look at the calendar the Hawaiians use is the moon calendar, you know, and looking at the moon, when to plant, when to harvest, and what to harvest. There was a lot of things called ho'ailona. There were signs told us a different flower on a different tree, had a fish in the ocean that was pregnant, and there was a no-take zone on that particular time and for that particular fish. So again, you know, like I said, sustainability was just a way of life. So there were different signs that Hawaiians had that made it possible for them to do what they did and made sure that, again, today, what was left from us, what Kupuna passed down, and was able to do that.
And you are a big part of the Kihei Canoe Club. Are you the founder? Are you the president? What is your role there?
Oh, I'm not the founder. The founder of the Canoe Club is called Moki Kalanikau, Makua Kani. Makua Wahine is Entipala Kalanikau. And they were the founders of Kihei Canoe Club in 1972. Today, 2012, I'm the president of Kihei Canoe Club.
So let's look at the video
Great.
of Kihei Canoe Club.
Great.
In a second here?
Yeah, soon.
Soon. Okay, well, tell us, oh, here it is.
O ke au I ka huli wela ka honua, o ke au I ka huli lole ka lani, o ke au I ku ka I aka ka la. E ho malama lama I ka malama, o ke au o makali I ka po, o ka vale vale ho o kumu honua, o ke kumu o ka lipo I lipo ai, o ke kumu o ka po I po ai. O ka lipo lipo, o ka lipo lipo, o ka lipo, o ka la, o ka lipo, o ka po, po ale ho I hana o ka po, hana o kumu lipo I ka po he kane, hana o po ele I ka po he wahine e, hana o ka uku koa koa, hana o kana he a koa koa e.
In this place called Kalepolepo, within the Moku, or district of Kula, and the Apupua'a of Ka'ono'ulu, the sea creeps up to the land as it always has done, creeps backward, creeps forward. As the tide begins to ebb, stones appear above the surface of the water, first one, then another, and another, until a 1,000-foot crescent of wave-washed rock is revealed. This is the wall of Ko'ia'ie, an ancient Hawaiian lokoi'a, or fish pond that sits here today like a smile upon the sea. A royal fish pond for the raising and fattening of fish that at one time produced more than 2,000 pounds of prized mullet a year for some of Hawaii's most renowned ali'i, or chiefs. Constructing these kuapa, or seawalls, was no easy task. Ko'ia'ie covered an area of 6 acres. Its rock walls were 6 feet high, 30 feet wide at the top, and 42 feet at the base. Legend has it that they were built in a single night by Menehune, a race of Hawaiian leprechauns. It is just as likely that they were built over months or years by armies of Kanaka, human beings, 10,000 strong, passing rocks of heavy basalt from far in the uplands all the way down to the sea. Since in the life of the ancient Hawaiian, gods were forever present, 2 stones in every fish pond took on special significance. An upright ku stone representing the fish god Ku'ulakai was placed on the east side of the wall, and on the west, a pahina stone to signify the regenerative female power of the moon and the perfect balance contained in all of nature. Of the 6 types of fresh and saltwater fish ponds known throughout Polynesia, the design of local kuapa is unique to Hawaii. These enclosed semicircular rock wall fish ponds were built on shoals or reef flats near a freshwater stream or spring. The shoreline served as the inner wall of the pond, and the outer walls facing the open sea had puka, or openings called auwai kai, channels installed with makaha, or sluice gates. These makaha made of ohia or lama wood allowed seawater to flow in and out of the pond. In the Hawaiian way of thinking, it is maka, or eyes that would see the fish, and ha, the breath of the living sea that would circulate the water. Fish would swim into the pond through the bars of the makaha. And since fish are a lot like people, they would eat and eat and eat, feeding upon seaweed and algae in the shallow, nutrient-rich water. Until, like this oopuhue or pufferfish, they grew too fat to get out. Hawaiians would find all kinds of sea life in the lokoi'a.
Emana oponoi, kupa aponoi, hemele no, kupua e kamana o. Emana oponoi, kupa aponoi, hemele no, kupua e kamana o.
As the saying goes, fish ponds were things that beautified the land, and a land with many fish ponds was called a fat land. When fish trapped in the pond became plentiful, they were harvested in various ways. Some were speared, large ones were scooped up by hand, and others gathered up by nets. Sometimes the lavaia, fishermen, trained fish, such as mullet or ala, to swim near the shoreline or seawall by feeding them taro, sweet potato, or breadfruit. And some were poached by 4-legged thieves. In Hawaii, there is as much variety in fresh and saltwater fish ponds as there is in the topography in which they lie. This pahonu, for instance, on Oahu, was designed for the harvesting of turtles for the dinner tables of those who held noble rank. But all fish ponds in Hawaii had at least one thing in common. They were all situated in a traditional pie-shaped land division called an ahupua'a that extended from its narrow origin high in the mountains to its widest span culminating at the reef line in the sea. This balanced form of land management granted every inhabitant access to fresh water, food, medicine, and building materials for shelter and canoes, all the ingredients necessary to sustain life. And ahupua'a was called rich according to the number of fish ponds it contained. At the time Captain Cook arrived in Hawaii in 1778, more than 350 thriving fish ponds were spread out along the coasts and uplands of the island chain, feeding thousands. By 1900, less than 100 remained. By the dawn of the 21st century, there were only 4 working fish ponds left in all of Hawaii. Time, erosion, natural disasters, development, and changes in lifestyle have taken their toll. Yet along the coasts of our islands, where ghostly remnants of a glorious time command our gaze, there are some who still remember Nā Mo'olelo a Kapo'ekaiko, the tales and traditions of the people of old.
This place was known to our ancestors as Ko'ie'ie, rushing waters. And way, way back in the 16th century, in the time of the bad chief Umi, there was one arrogant, sassy Haimakamaka overseer who was Konohiki of the Moku, the district of Kula. It was he who summoned the people of Maui to rebuild the fish ponds in Canoe Culture.
Ina boy kanaga, ina makaina na, he mai, hele mai. E hapai kapo aku, e hana no ka lepo lepo. Hele.
But when the Konohiki told the people to build fish ponds for the king at Canoe Culture, one man, Kikau, a reader of portents, protested that no such works could be completed without the help of the Menehune.
Hana no kapo aku. Hele.
For his insubordinates, Kikau was told that when the king's ponds were completed, he would be baked in the imu, an oven in the ground. Until that time, he would have to work like the others in stacking the rocks to build the pond. There were thousands of workers stretched out for miles, passing stones from hand to hand. The lifting of stones and the trampling of so many feet raised so much dust, the Konohiki made fun of them and called them or the men of Kalepo-lepo, roots in the dirt. That is how Kalepo-lepo got its name, the dirt. Just then, the Kaumuku wind that still blows today blew a blast of dirt in the face of the Konohiki. Thinking that Kikau and his friends were mocking him, he went into a rage. As their punishment, he ordered them to dive and bring up heavy stones from the bottom of the sea to make the walls of the ponds. And so it went over and over again. Every time the fish pond walls were almost complete, the Konohiki would taunt Kikau, telling him he would still die a horrible death in the imu. But Kikau, he wasn't scared. He knew that the Aumakua spirits of the Menehune were all powerful and that they would render the Konohiki's work to nothing before the last stone was laid. That night, a great storm came up. Wind, rain, thunder, and lightning, an earthquake and heavy seas spent its fury on Kalepo-lepo. Under cover of the storm, the Menehunes were seen tearing down the seawalls, undoing the work of the Konohiki, so Kikau might not die. And by the break of day, all the work had been undone, the seawalls gone. It took a long time, but eventually the Konohiki came to his senses and asked Kikau for help. Kikau summoned his elven brothers. And as the story goes, Chok Menehune came from the uplands, and the fish ponds of Ko'ie'ie at Kalepo-lepo were rebuilt in one glorious night. The rocks you see today are still there.
And the sand dunes.
And the sand dunes.
And the coconut tree.
And the coconut tree.
And the Menehune Shore condominium.
And the Menehune... Hey!
Auntie, tell us about the mo'o. What's a mo'o?
A mo'ovahine is a female lizard who sleeps in the pond and can take human form whenever she wants. The one who comes here to Ko'ie'ie is Mo'o Mokuhinia, an Aumakua or spiritual guardian from Lahaina, who showed herself here at the exact time of the death of Kapuaiwa, the beloved son of Kamehameha I. If you ever see foam on the surface of the water, no eat the fish, it's kapu.
Does she eat children?
She might, huh? You like try go swimming?
He aloha wale.
He aloha wale no ki Hawaiian na Kamehameha I ho'omanai.
He aloha wale.
He aloha wale no ki Hawaiian na Kamehameha I ho'omanai.
No Maui ke ali'i.
No Maui ke ali'i wahine nani o ke au kahiko kona wahana.
No Maui ke ali'i.
Ru Maui ke ali'i wahine nani o ke au kahiko kona wahanau.
Ua hoa akua.
Ua hoa kua o ki Hawaiian naka lehu lehu no I ka kuai.
Ua hoa akua.
Ua hoa kua o ki Hawaiian naka lehu lehu no I ka kuai.
He mo'o akua.
He mo'o akua wahine kaulana mai Hawaii ane I hau.
He mo'o akua.
He mo'o akua wahine kaulana mai Hawaii ane I hau.
Ho'i e ke kapu.
Ho'i e ke kapu me ki Hawaiian o la mākou a mau aku la.
Ho'i e ke kapu.
Ho'i e ke kapu me ki Hawaiian o la mākou a mau aku la.
He inoa no ki Hawaiian.
By the 1800s, the mo'o in Ko'ia'ia was well appeased. Kamehameha the Great enlisted the people of West Maui to rebuild the fish pond walls, and over the years, the ponds at Kalapolepo, full of choice mullet, became a resort for Hawaiian royalty. Many reigning monarchs of the post-contact era feasted here, including Kamehameha III and Kamehameha V.
Rolling down to old Maui.
By the mid-1800s, the little seaport village of Kalapolepo, with a population of 2,000, was bustling with activity. Whaling ships plied the offshore waters of Ma'alaya Bay, and the great beasts were brought here to extract their oil. A famous trading post, the Koa House, was built near the fish pond walls by a man from New York, John Joseph Halstead. Coconut trees and ko grew beside pools of clear water. Along the banks grew the taro and ape. Ko Ie Lokoi'a was fat with fish. One of the greatest of all Hawaiian scholars, David Malo, preached to his congregation here and at his nearby church, but he never lived to see what was to become his greatest fear, that one day a foreign power would come to rule his beloved islands. If a big wave comes in, large and unfamiliar fishes will come from the dark ocean. When they see the small fishes of the shallows, they will eat them up. The white man's ships have arrived with clever men from the big countries. They will devour us. It wasn't long before the Kaumuku wind brought bad tidings to Kalapolepo. The kula forests were cut for sandalwood. Cattle trampled the nearby fields. Torrential rain soiled the aina, washed the earth from the uplands, filling the fish ponds with silt. Sand dunes drifted into the ponds, and with less vegetation to keep it cool, the climate got hotter and the land more barren. By 1876, Kalapolepo took on an abandoned, ghostly look. By the turn of the century, it was desolate. Only a few fishermen remained. Today, at Kalapolepo Beach Park, the days of royal pomp and circumstance are no more, and the fish in the pond at Ko'ia'ia come and go as they please. No longer hunted to extinction, magnificent humpback whales still frolic in the bay, and endangered hawksbill turtles still hatch out to make their miraculous journey back to the sea. They are not the only ones coming back to Kalapolepo. There are more and more every day who still hear the call of the pond. Au au na lokoi'a o Maui. The Fish Pond Association of Maui has joined with native Hawaiians and the Maui Ohana to rebuild and restore Ko'ia'ia to its former glory and splendor. Every stone carries the mana or spiritual power of the ancestors. The stones will move, and the walls of Ko'ia'ia will rise again.
Okay, well, that was a great video.
Yeah.
Did you?
Ko'ia'ia loko i'a.
Yes, so we a little switch instead of
they'll come up next.
It'll come up next. So did you enjoy producing that?
Oh yeah, we thoroughly enjoyed that. We wanted to make an educational piece of Kalepalepo, you know, and Ko'ia'ia loko i'a, so our children can have a story of fish ponds on Maui. There's more than one fish pond, so it's an educational piece that we really enjoyed making for them.
It's great. It's great. So what we were talking about during the break was how the lifestyle of Hawaiian people has changed.
Well, you know, ours is a living culture. Yeah? Hawaiian is a living culture. Today, we have a drastic change, what we call economic culture, where people just go to the stores and buy all their food instead of farming or fishing. You know, Hawaiian is about farming and fishing. So Mauka Makai is about farming and fishing, and how we worked for our food and how we worked for our fish. And so all our food was, one of the things I wanted to share with everybody in Maui is that my dad is from the island of Niihau. And during a young child, when I visit there, it was always someone inviting you in and saying, Elemai no ka hale, Elemai no ka ino ka vai, na ka mehe ai. You know, and I was telling my dad, what's it all about? You know, every house we go in, they said to come to the house and eat the food, and the sacred water was prepared for us. So that was a living culture. You know, you work for all of that, and they were proud to share the kamehe'ai, the food, and the inukawai, the water they had for you. So it was a reverence thing also. So it was a great thing. And today it's an economic culture, you know, where people just buy most of the stuff at the store.
And how is that affecting Hawaiians' health?
Oh, tremendously. I mean, if you've seen Ko'ia'ia loko i'a, that was our diet. Yeah, the fish, the seaweed, you know, the lobster, the he'e, that was part of our diet, you know. I mean, if you look towards the Mauka, you know, shortly, you know, in today's session, we want to show you the lo'i is in Honokahau, which was the kalo, you know, and uala, the sweet potato. So that was our basic diet.
And did people get diabetes and heart disease? And
all that came later, yeah. All that came later when the Westerners came over and introduced us of different things.
So it wouldn't really be called progress.
Well, not on the health side, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not on a living culture side, you know.
Yeah.
You will be set back on that. So it's really a struggle, yeah. Today is a struggle. Yesterday was a living culture deal, and once people came in and influenced Hawaiians, a lot of that was taken away.
Well, it seems like you're doing your part to bring it back.
Well, there's tons of us are struggling to bring that back. You know, it's not an easy task, but you know, it's kaholo, lelo, kalelo, walk the walk and talk the talk. So we have, you know, for myself, you've seen the Ko'ia'ia loko i'a. We started that in 1996. Thanks to people like Walter Reedy on the island of Molokai, and came over and taught us about what they call revitalization of loko i'a. Revitalization means that using no mechanical equipment, everything by hand. You know, so mahalo to the Walter Reedy and his ohana for making it happen. Not only for us on Maui, but he's been a leader for us in the state of Hawaii in the loko i'a.
That's wonderful. Okay, so now let's look at the video on the Kihei Canoe Club.
Great.
.545 was the first group or team that pulled out. 2.5 hours to this location with gear. I don't think that's bad at all. Ask him to tell me about these trees, how he found them. Il te demande de raconter comment est-ce que tu as trouvé les arbres.
Ben, je veux tout.
Dieu?
Non? Ouais. Oui, ça c'est...
He says that God certainly helped us in finding the trees, but that he feels that all of the various elders and kumus that we visited in our previous trip to Hana, that their blessings and their agreement of what we were doing also assisted us in locating the trees, that he feels that they were very significant in our ability to come up here and locate these trees so easily.
We had scouted Kailua, we had scouted Hana area, and now we're in this area. This was found about 2 weeks ago.
It's a very steep trail, as you can see. We're on a ridge line, walking down and around.
The tree is now uplifted to a higher form, and so it's a very high occasion for us when a tree is picked, because the ceremony is not about us and our feelings. It's about honoring the tree. Canoe Culture. This is who we're honoring. This is a very historic event. This is the way canoes are supposed to be made. We don't see this part, and this part doesn't usually happen. What we're going to do is, we're going to do a chant. However, the chant goes back and calls on all the ancestors to come join us. But what it talks about is all of the people that migrated, that reached out, and call on all of them to come back here and join us in this ceremony.
Oh my, yeah, oh my, yeah, oh my, yeah.
At 65 years old, he's a student in his own mind, and he's already carved more than 200 canoes in Tahiti.
He says that that piece of tree is kind of pushing it that way. He has to cut it straight, otherwise it'll snap.
I'm asking the Jenny Aina and Hakuruling Kanoa to be the kupuna of this canoe, to share the mana'o, and that we get the proper name from the proper people in the proper way at the proper place. Because before we move our va'a, this va'a gotta be pono. And this is the reason why that I've gone out to you, Sky, Buli Hopai, and get all the community involved, because it is the Aina. And then from Huiwa o Kihei or Kihei Canoe Club, we not come here just to take. We come here to make sure it's pono.
Get the safety lock.
Hey! Oh! 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 Down! Hey!
Hooky! 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 Hooky!
Get up! Look up, guys!
We're at the elevation of 2,350 feet on Haleakala, and about 3 miles. Right now, this is our third day. We have with us a whole bunch of people. Fafa is the Kahuna Kalaiwa'a, or the master canoe maker.
We're almost home, guys. Almost home. Almost home. Coming. Coming.
It took each and every one of us to a different level of understanding our own lives in what we're doing today.
Finally, the two ends of the pirogue meet. Front and back.
Well, enjoyed that?
Wow, that looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was exciting times for us, you know, going up to the mountain and get a core tree. And as you've seen in the film that we went out to talk to the community and ask the community permission to get up there and do that. So in this film, we also had permission from the Kaupo Ranch. So we want to thank them, Jimmy Haynes, and especially our good friend Jonathan Starr and Helen. They both were the ones who we had to go through their land first, but they were very accommodating and very supportive of us getting a coachee to make a canoe. Awesome. You know, and of course you've seen Buli Ho'opai up there. So shortly after, Hana Canoe Club went and get a canoe for themselves. So our canoe that we brought down that you see there is called Kuku'omanatea. Kuku'omanatea is the white bird that flies swiftly over the ocean. Hana has a canoe, and there is a called Te Tane Hoi. You know, it's the man canoe. It's a kani canoe, Te Tane Hoi. And then Hawaiian Canoe Club. You were asking me earlier in the film, were there any kids in the program? Well, hopefully that someday you'll ask Hawaiian Canoe Club to come here, because I think they have a great story for you. And they went up and get a canoe with their kids program. And Kumukeli Tawa was there and made sure that one of the things that we didn't have here that we had in that film that the ancestral people would like to see was the Hawaiian language. So in the Hawaiian Canoe Club, the people who was involved spoke Hawaiian language on all the way up. So majority of that were the children of Hawaiian Canoe Club speaking Hawaiian and going up into the forest with Kumukeli Tawa and ourselves.
Awesome.
And their canoe is called Pahili Q. And we need not say but great things about Hawaiian Canoe Club. Winning the championship many, many years now, I think 8 years or number of years, and they won many gold medals with Pahili Q. Mm-hmm. And so was Kihei and Hana.
And as you probably know, one of my interests is finding things to engage kids and give them a sense of place and keep them out of trouble, basically. Right. And because, you know, kids have so much energy, and it's just clear if you give them something constructive to do, they'll do something constructive. If you don't give them anything constructive Correct. To do, they'll do something destructive. So that would be awesome if we had more of this in the schools, for community centers, and just kind of spread it out and made it available to any child that wanted, or youth that wanted to be involved.
I think that's available for all of them, you know. Mm-hmm. In our Maui Nui Kama, the island, Molokai, Lanai, and Maui, each of the clubs have a very deep culture program going on. You know, Hana Canoe Club, like Ula, Naka'ivalo, Hawaiian, Napili, Kahana, Lahaina, Kihei, Wailea. Just the idea of the Na'opio coming to paddle canoe, you know, they need to learn part of that is the culture, you know. And so we're very fortunate that all the clubs, you know, in Hawaii has culture with that, and our kids have a sense of place, you know, and they know their club name, they know their ahupua'a, they know their moku, they know their makua kane, makua wahini, the founders of the club. So they're definitely deep into the culture.
And what should parents in Maui County do if they want their kids to be involved?
They can call any of the clubs. Any of the clubs you can call up. We're all located in a phone book somewhere. And in Kahului, we have a big central club here with Lai'ula, Hawaiian and Kaiwalu. Out in Hana, we have Hana Kunu Club. Then on South Maui, you've got, you have clubs like Maui Kunu Club that basically they do a health program with Live Aloha, having diabetes. So diabetes people can come down there and paddle. Awesome. And they also have Mana Olana. They have one of the greatest cancer survivor program for canoeing. So all of them have a great thing to do. So they just can go to any club, and we have programs during the summer, and then we also support the school programs, the high school program.
And what is the cost?
Everybody's got different costs, but most of our Na'opio program is $30 and less for 8 weeks, or from the beginning of March all the way to August. So it's very nominal. It's pretty much a great thing. It's not so much a high fee situation. It's really we want the Na'opio to come out. So we welcome all of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really great if kids can get involved in that.
Well, and if you come to the regatta this weekend, will be held by the Napili Kunu Club. Our first race is called the Manini Race. And these are children that's 10 years and younger. And some of them as young as 8 and 7 years old. So we definitely have them involved.
Okay, great. And our next film is Hui o Va'a Kaulua. So let's, what is this film going to be about?
This is about our double hull canoe in Lahaina that has been under construction for a little while. And we're coming pretty close to completion. And definitely we'll be launching sometime this year.
Well, that's very exciting.
Very excited for the whole island of Maui.
Okay, so let's watch it.
It was more than an awakening. It was a renaissance. It was a renaissance of Hawaiians. Language, hula, everything that we do was an awakening. Because now, the Hokolea took it to Tahiti. A canoe is a living entity of us. On the canoe, it's like an island because that's all we have. We have our resources, we have our men, our women, our plants and animals, the children we take from one place to another. That's all we have. We don't have anything else. So keep in mind that all these physical things we have is nothing if we don't have a spiritual connection.
When you're out there, there's no islands, there's no other boats, and being on that with the elements, it kind of helps to connect with our kupuna, yeah? For us as Hawaiians here today, we're always trying to reconnect with our kupuna, with our past. We all we're moving so forward in this world with technology and stuff. We're just moving so quickly that sometimes we forget to look back and look up. We're always looking down. We gotta learn to look back, stop, and try to reconnect. So I think that's good for me. It gives me a time to sit, pule, talk story, try to almost like meditating, I guess. So I always look back at my kupuna, the ones that I knew, even the ones that I didn't know. I always try to look back and try to reach and just let them know that I'm here and you gotta have me here for a reason, I must be here to learn something and I must be here to take back something. So I always look at it in a positive way and just really get myself open to my past.
So that must be very exciting, getting ready for this launch.
Well, as you've seen in the beginning of the film, Kimokeo Kapahulehua was my uncle, and he was one of the first voyagers in Hokolea, sailed from Honolulu, Maui to Tahiti. So that was, unfortunately for me, I wasn't so close about sailing at the time. I was still paddling canoe and still do today. But getting involved with Hui o Kapahulehua and in the construction of Mo'okia o Pi'ilani, it's very exciting for me because it reflects back on my uncle and the things that he said to me when he was with Hokulea and the things that he's done. So I look back and reflect back and say, in my own words, yeah, he had such a vision about the ancestral people. And just imagine that crossing with a double hull canoe like Hokulea from Maui to Tahiti in 1976, which have never been done. And just credit to all of them, you know, called Polynesian Voyage Society. And of course, you know, everybody aware of Nainoa Thompson, and we're so fortunate to have him and his teachings to all of us that come from Papa Mau Pi Luke, the navigator. So we're very happy to have all of that. And today we have the Makali'i, which is on the Big Island, and Chad Paishan and Port Maikai and what's his name, Shorty Bertleman. And we are very fortunate to have him. Chad Babayan, you know, he's a Lahaina boy. His daughter is Kala, Kala, we now have 4 captains. Timmy Gilliam, Yusin Palani Wright, we have Favai and Kala. So we're exciting times for us right now.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So let's see, the next film, or the final film this evening is Hui o Va'a Kala. Oh, sorry. We just saw that. Lo'i of Honoko'au Valley. So let's watch a film about the Lo'i.
Great.
Hello, Kimokeo Kapahulehua. I'm in Honoko'au Valley. I'm up on one of the irrigation lines. As you can see, this line is, this is not the main line for the people. It's the main line for a hydroelectric plant that we have. McDonald had that for 30 years, working in partnership with Hawaiian and Fine. A very successful idea. Unfortunately, it's just for a couple houses and not the valley. So hopefully in the future we'll be able to use this hydropower down to the people in the valley. And it's become a hydro plant for Honoko'au, owned by the people, managed by the people, so that we don't have to pay electric in the future. We're in the Honoko'au stream now, and today is April 1st. It's not April Fool Day for us, it's the real deal. And this is the lowest the water has been. As you can see, the water is still flowing. The original daily flow is right where this big rock is. Look at this big rock here. Okay, this is the moss, and this is the water line. So we usually have water in this area. You can see the other. And in the back of me is one of the problems that I was saying to you guys, that the debris is the Java palm that falls in the river. So now what we have to do is come up here with a chainsaw and put it in pieces. And up there, as you can see, that we're growing taro, dry land taro and wetland taro. Right up here is Puhole fern. This is the rose apple tree. So the valley is definitely intact. We have more than our fair share of invasive plants in here. I think that to remove that is a pass. So what we need to do is make sure that if we remove anything, to put back the native plants. We have a lot of kukui in here. We've been bringing in the waki for the copper cloth. We brought in the core tree, the a'ali'i, kulu'i. So we're bringing back some of the native trees. We're going to try and plant kolea up here, and also plant ohe. Other trees that we think that will work up here. So as you can see, the valley is a little narrow, and this is the lowest we've seen it in a while. But as you can see, the water is still flowing. Me, personally, I'm going to work with this problem and make sure that we have water in our taro patches.
I've been here like about 5 months.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
How many of these have you cleared so far?
You mean here or?
Down.
Well, about 11.
Wow. Yeah. You guys are busy.
Yeah. I'm gonna open up this whole valley.
Oh yeah?
From here up.
Nice.
It's okay.
And all the loe already exists. You just have to...
It's already made, look.
Right.
It's like, it's perfect.
Have to clean them.
It's a hard part, yeah.
Yeah. Lots of hard work.
Yeah. You gotta do it, man.
Yeah.
I just do one patch at a time.
Right.
You know? The first time in like 100 years.
You think it's the first time in 100 years that patch is open?
Easy.
Really?
Easy, yeah.
Oh, how cool.
I mean, first time I made that patch, I was so thrilled. Like, he came up there, it was like mana, you know? Yeah. Mana to the valley, man. Yeah. Taro being mana.
We raise water for the valley, and it's a good partnership between the County of Maui, Maui Land and Pineapple, and the Honoka'a people. We just need to get more people coming up and work our water.
Okay, that's great. And I noticed that Maui County is involved.
Auhea i Kauai o Honokahau.
Yeah.
Where is the water?
Absolutely.
You know, so you see Honokahau and the water we have now.
So if I came to you from the government and I said, you know, Kimokeo, there's too many kids getting into trouble, and then they end up, you know, getting in jail, and that costs us so much money, and kiddie prison is extremely expensive. I'm going to give you that money, and I want you to make programs that keep the kids on the straight and narrow path because they're so involved and engaged. What would you do?
Well, you know, you talked earlier in the film, Netra, about the sense of place.
Yeah.
The first thing I would do is take that money and make sure that our immersion schools are in place. Our language is the key for our culture. And so whatever immersion schools we have here, we need to make sure they get funded and continue our immersion school, because our language is our key to our culture, you know. And when you talk about a lifestyle of a Hawaiian family or Hawaiian Na'opio, then the lifestyle of us should be doing programs like John Lynn in Kipahulu, you know, doing the taro patch and doing a community farm. They have a Kipahulu community farm group there. So those kind of things I would advise, you know, us to fund, you know. And you come on to Keanai, you get the Akuna family, you got the Bush family, and they're doing a similar thing. I guess the bottom line for me would be you need to get hands-on, you know. And it's we can learn all this what we have in school, but we need to go back and to find out what we call kupono. Kupono to know who we are, what we do, and where we go every day. You know, so having culture in the base, and then education, and you know, we have a challenge with we don't have a challenge, but we have new things happening, technology. So we got to make sure that our children can weave all this culture and sense of place and into technology like the Lahala mat to work for their future, because we need our children to be in place, not only like culture, but economically sustainable in the future.
Absolutely. And if they said, okay, not only for the base for all children, what about kids who had already gotten into trouble? Could you develop programs or work with others to develop programs for those kids?
Well, you know, very simply that when we had gone to see Frank Hewitt, Kawai, Kupukalani, because of that, what you asked me, they have a program called Kui Kamana. Kui Kamana making every child our responsibility, the community, to go out and take them. So we can never leave them out. They always got to be in. And they got to be in society, in the family, like every natural kid, and make sure that we have something for them. So Kui Kamana was a program making the community responsible for every child that you talk about, and bringing them into the fold and making sure, and most of them do really, really well as a fisherman, probably at the taro grower, a sweet potato. They probably cannot do books. But if you were to do one of those group programs and teaching them, like the taro patch, you know, the question came to me about a couple months ago, hey, Kimokeo, how do you think those guys went fertilize the taro patch? You know, they took every green species, plants around, dried the taro patch, and used everything to revitalize the taro patch. They made sure that they used what they could that was around them. And so those kind of programs would work for everybody. But we wouldn't leave those out. They were like a special program for us and special children because they have a greater knowledge than we think they do have.
Absolutely. And like what you said, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah, well, the Hawaiians always say it takes the people of the Ahapua'a to make a canoe. It takes the people of the Ahapua'a to care for the ohana.
Absolutely. So this has been very enlightening and enriching, and I want to thank our sponsor. Sponsored by Bello Realty, is a family-owned company that knows Maui. And you were going to tell me a little story about Bello Realty.
I remember talking to you about that, you know. I wanted to tell you that this company, Bello Realty, Ed and Pam had a project in Kihei, South Maui. And he called upon us to come and to reforestate native plants in the development. And so this family is just not doing things or building things. They have a sense of our land. So we went with Ed and Pam to show us the area, and we reforested sand dunes with aki-aki, pahui-hui, and coconut trees, and naupaka. So, you know, our sponsor tonight, the Bello Realty, does and feel about the land and concern about our culture.
Right, they walk the talk.
Holo ka holo o lelo ka lelo. Walk the walk, talk the talk.
Absolutely. So, Kimokeo, what do you want to say to the Akaku viewers?
I just want to say to the Akaku viewers, Mauka Makai, yeah? I malama ka aina, I malama ka moana. Take care of our land like our kupuna did, and take care of our ocean like our kupuna. This is our land, our place. It's our kuleana to live and to care for the land and the ocean for our future generation people.
Absolutely, awesome. And so if people want to get involved with Kihei Canoe Club, they can look that up in the phone book or any of the other canoe clubs around the county? They can just go right to all of them have a website, so just go to any one of them that I named you off. Hana Canoe Club, Laiula, Nakaivalu, Hawaiian, Wailea, Kihei, Maui Nui, Kahana, Lahaina, Napili, and of course we have a club on Lanai Canoe Club, and Molokai we have several canoe clubs. We have 4 of them. Whaakapai Mua, we have Mana'i, and Molokai, and one more, you know. But we have clubs that they can get involved with. Okay, wonderful. Well, this has been a great show. And again, it's all about integrating the past with the present, with the future. And it's all bringing it together because consciousness, sustainability, it all can happen in many different, like a weaving of a lauhala mat. We can never forget the past. Aloha, and we hope to see you again.